So this is tasting update number 12. We are back in Beaune after a day of tasting with the Boston chapter of the Chevalier de Tastevin, a group over here from Boston. They're visiting Burgundy, and we spent the morning in Beaune and spent the afternoon in the Côte de Nuits.
There we spent another couple of delightful hours with Michel Gros, first walking through his vines in the Clos de Vougeot, and then in his cellars where we had an absolutely wonderful tasting, vertical and horizontal, of some of his best wines.
So we started the morning with a tour of the cellars of the Domaine Megarde. Renaud is a friend of ours from Boston who makes excellent wine from Pommard, and we did a vertical of his wine from Pommard. It was really lovely, starting in 2013 and going all the way back to 2006, and many of them are aging really beautifully. We had lunch in Beaune and then drove up north to Vosne-Romanée. We spent a little time in the vines, walking around, just checking things out and seeing how the new vintage is progressing. There's been a lot of damage from frost and from hail up here, and it's a little bit of a dicey time in Burgundy. We then met up with the Chevalier and brought them to the Clos Vougeot, where Michel showed us some of his vines and some of the damage from the frost. He explained some of the different parts of the Clos Vougeot, the different neighborhoods, and where his vines are in relation to those of his relatives. Then we drove back to the Domaine in Beaune and had a wonderful tasting. We started with some barrel tasting of the 2015s, tasted some 2012 Premier Crus from bottle, and then did a vertical of the Clos des Réaux, which was really special.
One of the perks of being the last people at the tasting is that we were able to bring home a few of the samples that were shown there, and we'll of course need to work through them all one more time just to make sure we thoroughly understood them.
Yep. And tomorrow we're headed to the Jura, to Arbois, with 3 new producers. It'll be a little bit of an experiment for us. And then we're headed back to Burgundy for a dinner at the Clos Vougeot. So that's it for tasting update number 12, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.